What is up, Sooner fans? What's up, Surgeaholics? How are you doing tonight, this Tuesday evening? Hope you're doing good. Jeremy will be joining momentarily from a Walmart parking lot nearby. Thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. SEC Media Days for Oklahoma was today. Got to hear from Brent Venables, Danny Stutzman, Billy Bowman, and Jackson Arnold, and some really good stuff from them today. I see some comments already rolling in. Steven says that Oklahoma has to play an SEC schedule since the SEC got to play Oklahoma. Yeah, there is a little bit of that, but it is a tough schedule. I mean, Bobby says Texas isn't even a top 3 game for me this year. I'm more excited for Bama, LSU, and Ole Miss. I tell you another game, Bobby, that as it gets closer and closer, I'm getting more excited about, and it's Tennessee at home. You open up SEC play with Tennessee. I watched some highlights today of Tennessee and some of their quarterback, Nico, and he's outstanding as far as talented. It'll be his first really SEC game for him, road environment, so I'm interested to see how he does. But that game is going to be, I think, a really good game and a good test for Oklahoma starting off. Love it, Mark. Are you live? Asking for an okay lawn guy. That's right. Asking for a lawn guy. Sooner fan, this is kind of crazy. We talked about it last night. And everyone's like, even I thought I heard some of her songs and she was pretty decent. So I was surprised last night too. And then she came out today and said she was drunk and she's checked herself into rehab. Kind of a bad deal. Hopefully she gets right. I mean, that's all, just hopefully she's able to get everything back together for her because she had a good career going. So I don't want this to be a bad thing to end her career or anything like that. Ron says, I can cheer everyone. No one in the SEC is afraid of OU. Who was it? Okay, I was listening today. Yes, it was SEC Mike was on the Sports Animal this morning. And he was, he's out of Tennessee, a Tennessee guy. And he was saying that all the Tennessee fans think they're going to walk into Norman and walk all over Oklahoma. And it's that way with a lot of SEC fan bases. They just think Oklahoma, they're going to just destroy Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's just another team. So I think that's very interesting, and I don't understand where that's coming from because OU has been you could say, dominant team over the last 15 years. Have they won a national championship? No, they haven't. But they've been good teams, and I don't. But here's the thing, and I think let me get it right here. It says, yeah, Bobby says, agreed, Ron. They're not scared of OU. Here's the thing, and the SEC, and I think Brent did a really good job today of respecting the SEC. I don't think any SEC schools, maybe outside of Vanderbilt, really fear anybody because they're used to playing the big dogs every single week. So I don't think they fear anybody. Even over here in Arkansas, I don't think they fear anybody. Hey, Mark, I actually did hear SEC Mike say this. He goes, they might have the best SEC defensive line. And he said that gives them a big advantage over Oklahoma's probably in the offensive line. But he said this, Oklahoma's wide receiving core, he thinks field day against Tennessee because Tennessee, that's their weakness is their back 7. So he said pretty much that washes out. So we'll see. I don't know. What's up, Jeremy?
Not much, but Jay, I will say, if the O line doesn't give time, it really doesn't matter how many guys are open.
Hey, that's true, but some good news today. We hear about Garen Hatchett being fully released on the offensive line. That's good. Good for Oklahoma. You also had Troy Everett ahead of pace, it sounds like, for depth-wise. So those are good. Those are good positives. Now, negatives from the injury report today, we hear that Andrel Anthony, Jalil Farouk, not really going to get to practice till maybe right before the first week. So that's going to put them behind the 8 ball a little bit, I think.
That could, Jay, but here's the deal. Both those guys know the playbook. Of course, it's a different playbook. I'm not sure at the receiver position how much, how many weeks of practice they're going to have to get before they're ready to play.
Yeah, Steven, you're right on this. And a couple of things. Brent Venables in a suit and a cowboy hat, give me some more of that. He looked like sheriff of town, baby. Loved it. Also, if you watched it, I don't know if you guys watched it today, but after the podium session, Brent Venables went and talked with the SEC Now crew that had Dusty Dvorak on there, and it was really, really good stuff. I loved it. There's one clip I wish we could play on here, but it was about cornerbacks and defensive backs. I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to see it. If not, I'm going to post it in the Discord later. I recorded it off my phone. I thought it was that good, talking about the cornerbacks and the defensive backs, and basically they got to be a lot better this year, and he can't scheme them into every play. Sometimes man on man, and you got to man up. And he talked about how when he recruits cornerbacks, the very first question he asked them is, I'm going to give you a selection. You want to play man-to-man or cover two? He said it tells a lot about it. So go watch that clip if you haven't. It's a great clip.
And a couple of things here. No one's ever going to deny the intensity of BV. I love everything about BV. I don't think any Sooner fan dislikes anything like that. What I will say, though, Jay, if you don't back it up, he's got to back it up these next 2 years, I think.
Yeah, and hey, I agree, Monty. All the guys showed great class. I think Billy Bowman seems to be a little more confident. I don't want to say, I'm not going to use the word. He's very confident this year in some of the stuff he's saying. I love it. Talking a little bit. I loved what he said about the horns down. That was great. I will say this about Brent Venables, and we don't know what they're gonna put out there this year as far as record wise. There's still people around the nation, and I think there's still OU fans that are questioning, is Brent Venables the guy, right? There are people that are saying that. But let me ask you this, and as Sooner fans on here, throw out the record. You don't know what it's going to be this year. Is there anybody that you would rather have representing Oklahoma heading to the SEC wise other than Brent Venables? I'm talking about all of it as far as the culture, the way he speaks. He is a great representative for Oklahoma as a head coach, and it was a great press conference out there. He did a great job. And you know what I'll say too is, over the first 3 years at Oklahoma, he's gotten way better with the media as far as not going so long on questions. I think he's improved mightily on that. Even his opening statement today, 6 minutes. I thought it was great.
I love that he's always trying to make himself improve himself in what he does. I will say this, Jay. There may be other guys that could represent OU in a great way. Very intense. Here's what I do know. I don't want it to be Lincoln Riley, okay? Because that's who it was going to be.
Yeah, and Bobby says he would take multiple coaches over BV. Kirby, you're talking about the elite of the elite there.
Hey, I'm gonna pause a second.
Listen, real quick.
Stop for a second, Jay. I'm gonna pause for a second.
Real quick. Lanning, I love Dan Lanning. I like Dan.
He hasn't done anything yet.
I like Lanning, though. I like him.
I know you do. You like him a lot more than I like him. But my point is, DeBoer, I'll give you. Kirby Smart, absolutely. Dan Lanning hasn't beaten Washington the last 2 years, so I don't want to hear about that either.
Here's the deal. I think it's put up or shut up. Dan Lanning this year should be in the playoff, right?
He should have last year. I didn't say BV has, Eric. I'm saying people, what's he done? Bobby, what has he done more? Has he won a Pac-12 championship?
He made a Pac-12 championship game.
Has he won one, Jay?
No, but he made one.
Has he won any more than OU as far as anything big? No. Absolutely not.
I'm with you. I like Dan Lanning. I think Dan Lanning's up there, but I don't think right now you can say he's done a lot more than Brent Venables. He made the championship game of the Pac-12. That's what he did. That's a fact. You're right. But
Jay, but in the grand scheme, why are people wanting to crown him and then rip and put BV like he hasn't done anything? They're pretty much similar.
Well, Brent Venables has a longer history of being an assistant coach. I know that.
You could argue that Brent Venables has done as much at Clemson that Lanning did at Georgia. He's got an unlimited NIL deal at Oregon, for one thing.
I would love to see the matchup of OU versus Oregon somehow in the playoff this year. I think that would be great.
And look,
now, Galpos, real quick, Galpos. I don't think it's a half on board. I think some people like different coaches better than others. I don't think that is a problem to have with the fan base, really.
No one's putting out their wish list, Chuck. My problem is people that want to crown Dan Lanning, okay, and in the same breath say BV ain't it. Dan Lanning ain't it either, I guess. I mean, what's he won?
Yeah, the ones that say Brent Venables isn't it, that's undetermined. Nobody knows yet. You can't say he's not it yet. I mean, there's no way you can say that. You don't know. Nobody knows. And
I agree.
Last year, 2 losses. I mean, other than the bowl game, they should have won. We all know that they should have won.
Kalen DeBoer beat him twice, Jay.
You know what I'll say about Brent Venables? Say that one of the things he said that I love that he said it. He said, we didn't handle success very well last year. When they beat Texas, he goes, looking back on it, we lost 2 games. We shouldn't have lost. Like, he knows it.
Hey, one thing I would ask about Eric, yeah, I believe he did win a championship as the DC at
BV won 2 at
Clemson. BV won 2 at Clemson, okay? So,
by the way,
if we're going to start saying how many they won as an assistant, okay, I guess BV's got the lead.
By the way, Brent Venables, 2 that he won both beat SEC schools.
I mean, I guess BV's better. If we're going to compare assistants, I don't think we want to go that route.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Wasn't BV on staff in 2000?
Yes.
That's 3.
He's won 3 as an assistant, correct. It's put up or shut up time for Dan Lanning. It's put up or shut up time.
That's all I'm saying.
What?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying is.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Dan Lanning's got a great recruiting base. He's been unbelievable at recruiting. We know he can coach defense. The fact of the matter is, in my opinion, they should have beat Washington. They haven't beaten him in 2 years? At three games, they're 0-3. I mean, that ain't good.
Yeah, we did open the bag, but hey, that's what it's about. I don't mind feedback.
Jason opened the bag. And Chuck, I never put Lincoln Riley in the category. Jason said, is there anyone else you'd rather?
You brought up Lincoln Riley, not me. I never mentioned that guy's name. I don't mention
Jason. Jason.
I didn't bring him up.
I didn't say you did, Jay. Open your ears. I said, you asked the question, is there anyone you'd rather have? And I said, there's a couple other names across the country that are great coaches. I tell you one I wouldn't rather have is Lincoln Riley. I brought him up because he was the former coach here. Tebow. You guys know that.
Well, I didn't really bring it up to ask. I was just saying, who else? I mean, he is the way he spoke up there today, a great leader moving into the SEC. Now, here's the thing. Now you got to, why are you shaking? Now you got to prove it on the field. Even he said it today. He goes, we got a lot of guys. He was talking about the defense. He went down a list of everybody. I mean, almost it seemed like he was naming everybody on the roster defensively. And then he said, we have a lot of guys on our team. We're getting ready to find out if we got a lot of dudes on our team. And I love that. We got guys. I can see it right now. I can see it with my own eyes. We got guys. Do we have dudes that'll do it in games? We're about to find out. And you're about to find out in 45 days. And by the way, let me say this real quick. I got to get something off my chest. Watching that today, I don't know how, but you can't really pre-screen questions. But come on now. I mean, a few of these questions, some guy asked the question of, how is it going to be now that you have to recruit against Texas A&M and Arkansas? Can we stop? Texas A&M and Arkansas? They've recruited, and Brent Venables said, we've recruited against them every year. It's no different. Some of these questions, like Arkansas, are we really going there?
Yeah, and hey, Chief T-Bird, I disagree. They're not going to be 7-5, but I do agree with one part of your comment. I think Oregon could struggle in cold weather games.
Hey, you want to hear a hot take from me?
Bring it.
I was looking at some schedules today in the SEC. I don't think Missouri's making the playoff. I think Missouri's going to have. I think they have a guarantee. I think they're going to have 3 losses, maybe 4.
Okay,
that's my hot take. I'm not sold.
I hope.
I'm not sold yet.
I agree it's cold in Eugene, but it's not Michigan cold in Eugene, Oregon, Eric. It's not Michigan cold.
Yeah, Matt, I think
it's not Iowa cold.
Yeah, I think Oregon's in the playoffs too, Chuck. That's a team I'm buying. As much as I'm selling Missouri, I am buying Oregon in the playoffs.
And I agree. I agree it snows, but I can't think of many snow games I've seen on Oregon, but I've seen plenty in the Big Ten. And I'm not sitting here saying Oregon's not going to make the playoffs. I think they have a great shot at it. I do think Dylan Gabriel could be. We'll have to see on DG.
Hey, Bobby, here's my losses: at Texas A&M, at Alabama, Oklahoma, and then the one I'm debating right now. That's 3 that I think they're going to lose. The one I'm debating at South Carolina, but I do think they're going to lose at A&M and at Alabama. That OU game's a swing game, and I pick an OU right now. That gives them 3. They could lose to South Carolina. Who knows? I just think I'm not sold, and just not.
What's everyone got Oregon's record at, Jay?
I think Oregon's going to have a good year. I don't think they'll be – I haven't looked at their schedule, but I don't think there's any chance they have more than 2 losses.
Yeah, I'd have to look at their schedule. They do play Ohio State, correct? I know they don't play Ohio State and Michigan. I'd have to look at their schedule. I think they could have a couple of losses.
Hey, while we're on Dylan Gabriel for a second, trivia time, boys and girls. Here's the deal. You know the rules. FanStop has provided us the opportunity to give 2 tickets away to the OU Houston game. Amazing seats, really low, great seats. You're going to want to win these tickets. You know the rules to earn points for these tickets, right? You win the trivia every night. At night, you get a point. So we're going to go with the trivia tonight. Here we go. Dylan Gabriel was mentioned earlier, and I heard this. I'm going to say I heard this on the Sports Animal. I heard this on the radio today. And so here we go. Last year, how many sacks did Dylan Gabriel take at Oklahoma? How many sacks did Dylan Gabriel take at Oklahoma? This is a tricky one. It's going to be hard to just Google this one up. Not 6.
Not 4, not 13, not 8. Not 15.
Nope.
Not 11, not 9.
I have not seen it yet.
Not 19.
I don't think I've seen it yet. Hunter, you're going to have to help me make sure.
I have not seen it. It's not too many either.
Hey,
that's not a good answer.
Though too many might be the correct answer. Nobody's got it yet that I can tell.
Too many was Jalen Milroe, Jay. There
Mark,
it is.
Mark got it, 17. Good job, Mark. Get the point tonight, Mark. And also, Mark, Unlimited member, already has his name in there 3 times.
But no one's got their name on the wheel as much as Eric, because Eric got the caller last night. He's got his name 5 times. I will say this, Jay. If anyone on here is a Shirt of the Month subscriber on the fanstop.com, you need to email us at ousportsroundup@gmail.com so we can confirm with FanStop. You will get your name on there 7 times.
Hey, let me say that. Let me say this real
Bad
quick.
Trivia question.
Bad?
Yeah, because like Chief T-Bird, people just throwing numbers up there.
Hey, what's better than just Googling it up, is it not?
Jay, how many sacks did Milroe have last year?
That's what I was getting to, and this is what blew my mind when I heard this morning. Jalen Milroe last year at Alabama, as much as people want to talk about OU's offensive line and stuff, Milroe got sacked 44 times. Led the SEC, Jeremy. 44. That's unbelievable. That is an unbelievable sack to me. Was he holding on to the ball too long? 44 times, guys. That is unreal.
Aaron says 2 of the last 3 games Oregon plays at Michigan and at Wisconsin. Here's what I'll say. If they have a loss going into those games, it could get dicey. Jay, did you see what Chief T-Bird, the #1 college football show today at BV on?
I'll have to go check it out. I watch that every once in a while. Yeah,
you cannot hey, Bobby, I agree that Milroe holds on to the ball too much. That is not the reason for 44 sacks, though.
That's part of the reason, though. That's actually part of it. Hey, a game I would watch out for in the Big Ten is I do think Wisconsin under Luke Fickell is getting better and better. They're recruiting better too. Can we beat Tulane first? Steven says. Yeah, he was asked about it today, Brent Venables, which was a shock. He asked about the Tulane game.
Yeah. Shador had a whole lot. I don't know how many, though.
I thought Shador, I want to say he had 40-something too, but I don't know for sure. By the way, on a softball note, I think get ready because I think Nigeri Kennedy is getting ready to commit to Alabama.
Roll Tide.
There's too many follows on our Instagram following Alabama players and coaches. Just in the last, from what I follow, and I check it every once in a while, and it looks like recently quite a bit. So I'm thinking maybe that could be happening soon. We'll see.
Hey,
maybe not. I just
Bobby
follow the follows, right?
My question for Bobby, maybe Bobby wants to call in. Eric broke the ice last night and called in. It was great. But Bobby, do you have Milroe ahead of Jackson Arnold? Because it sounds like you're saying Milroe had a lot of struggles last year. I'm just curious.
Trap House, thanks for joining Trap House. Good point. 44 sacks, sounds like they're struggling with post-snap reads. Good point. And I'd be willing to know, I didn't break it down, but I'd be willing to know how many of those sacks came in the first, because he started and then they pulled him, remember? And then he went back in and he played better. So I'd be interested to know how many came on early on when he started, Because he struggled at the first of last year. He absolutely did.
Bobby says talent-wise, he's not as good as Jackson Arnold, but current SEC quarterback ranking, yes.
Hey, I thought Jackson Arnold was really good today.
I did too. Way older than his years.
He's only 19 still. Did you know that?
It's crazy, Jay.
Hey, another thing is you heard today that Casey Thompson's fully healthy.
I think he's the backup, Jay.
So,
You did say 8 first, but the answer was 17, Monty.
Yeah, the answer was 17, but we'll check it out. Make sure nobody said it first. Mark says, does it count as a sack on an RPO key before they can really start to run? If it's behind the line of scrimmage, I think that's counted as a sack.
Clark's a Sooner Surge Unlimited member, and Clark, maybe it's just he's so pumped for the season. He's got that twitch.
Hey, it doesn't get much better than Brent Venables in a suit and a cowboy hat.
Oh, it's elite, Jay. Absolutely elite.
That's right.
Hey, so it's pretty clear, Jay, I think that the starting receivers depend on, I guess, if Burks is going to be suspended, we don't know. But it's going to be Burks, Anderson, Gibson at the beginning.
Gibson, you think? For sure?
Well, who else, unless it's Petaway or Thompson over him?
I don't know. I mean, Brent Venables pretty much came out today and said Ethan Downs is going to be starter, which I don't think that's a shock, but I did think it was interesting. He pretty much said it.
Hey, and I'm going to say what I think on that, Jay.
Hey,
I know
go ahead.
I know you disagree with me. When BB talked about all those guys and he said something about Downs being a starter, I think to me that implies Downs deserves a start, but we're going to play a lot of dudes on the edge. That's what I took.
I think they're going to play a lot of guys, but I think Downs, he was their best guy on the end last year. Wasn't even close.
Right, but I think he's implying that they're going to play a lot of guys, but Downs deserves to start. They're going to play a lot.
Oh, I think they're going to rotate a lot of guys. I agree.
Yeah.
Oklahoma should be really good defensively. We talked about it. They should be really, really good. And I think if you listen to Brent Venables, I think he is a lot more confident with these guys that have been there now, played in a system, talked about Zach Alley and how he's a forward thinker, innovator, loves Zach Alley, said he fit right in. I think, the young pups are growing up, as Matt said. Another defensive back-wise, Gentry, I think Brent today said he started in 10 games, but he really played the equivalent of 3 games with all the injuries. I think I'm very intrigued to see who's going to be on the other side. I think that's a position battle to really watch all fall. It sounds like Brent Venables really wants guys that can just be dogs and man up, and you either if you're playing, you're bringing extra guys, whatever you're doing. I just think he mentioned today he brought up South Florida and how he loves to recruit them South Florida guys down there because as soon as they come out of the mom's womb, they're like, "Where's the guy I can man up?" Like it was a really good segment on ESPN. Loved it.
Chuck, Michael Fasuzi, I say is a 52% chance he's a Sooner. There you have it.
I hope so. I hope he's a Sooner. That would be a great get for Oklahoma. It would be a great way to kind of close out the class this year. I think you mentioned Gray God, Bobby. A lot of the guys on here think no, but I feel better about
probably because all the insiders are saying no, aren't they?
I don't know, Jeremy. Not sure.
Must be.
Jimmy says Fasusi will be a Sooner.
I just go with my heart, Jay. 52%. I'm not saying it's overwhelming chance, but
I don't think anything's overwhelming in recruiting, though.
No.
How about Drinkwitz throwing the jab at Mike Gundy today on Feinbaum? It's kind of Austin lost Texas A&M got a receiver that I think Texas thought they were going to get today. So Texas right now in the recruiting rankings, go look where they're at. They're going to have to close well as too because they seem to have fallen off a little bit.
They've lost some guys, Jay, but I don't really follow them either. So
Chuck says if he watches the #1 college football show, he will be a Sooner. I guess Brent Venables, they love Brent Venables on there, sounds like.
Jay, the entire SEC, I will say this, has really had nothing but good things to say about the University of Oklahoma.
But it's reciprocated, too. OU was the same way about the SEC.
I agree.
So, I mean, I think in general, I did one question I loved today that was asked. One of the reporters asked about Curtis Lofton, his role, and all that with the NIL. And I thought it was a great question. I'm glad somebody asked it. And Brent Venables said basically it has to do with recruiting, evaluating, retaining, NIL, all of it. And basically as he goes, because nothing's really landed. NIL space, it's not landed anywhere. It's still kind of free floating. And he said we're basically in a great position now. When it does land somewhere, we have something in place. It's a forward thinking to be ready. And I think that's what we all talked about on there last week about Rosenberg, is it's something for the future, whether it be recruiting, whatever. They're trying to get things in place for when NIL does land in a certain space, whatever it is, they have a guy in place that can help kind of facilitate that.
Eric says OU insiders are always selling sunshine and rainbows. And I will say this. I know people have called me a sunshine pumper. First off, you don't know me if you think that. And I will say we get a lot of comments on some of our videos about how negative we are, which I think is absolutely hilarious, outside of also how much we yell.
Real quick about that. When I see those comments, though, there's a difference between being negative and just having an opinion about being, offensive line. Just you don't know yet. That people see that as negative, and that usually comes from people that want to just pump. OU's going to run the SEC undefeated this year. I mean, and I know Mess has 12-0, which is fine. That's fine, but that doesn't mean me saying 9-3 I'm negative, or if somebody says 8-4, I mean, it just means that's their opinion. I mean.
Yeah, and Tyler, I'm going to say something here you may not like. I gave props to Eric last night for calling in, and anyone else who's a Sooner Surge Unlimited member ought to do it. Tyler, you're welcome to join the Sooner Surge Unlimited membership and give a call in. But Eric explained his background and why he's a Sooner fan. So, and listen, Eric knows if there's anyone who argues with him more than anyone, it's me, Jeremy. But I gave Eric props. He explained his fandom. So I would say stop calling him a hater.
Yeah, and on chat, it's hard to know really. I mean, the tone and everything on chat's different than it is as talking on the phone. It's a little different. So, what was I going to get to?
I have no idea, Jay.
I don't want to get into the Stoops thing again, but I think there are a lot of comparisons, personality-wise, Bob Stoops and Brent Venables. You can totally see that Brent Venables was a disciple and a student of Bob Stoops in the way he talks and all of it. I think you can just see it, almost like he was raised under Bob Stoops in the way he all that. So I think you can see some of that. We'll see what Brent Venables does this year on the field. And 9-3, again, I'm gonna say 9-3 would be a really good season for this team, I think, with this schedule. It's the toughest schedule in the SEC, is it not?
Florida's arguably a little tougher.
No, take away Florida's non-con games. Look at only SEC games. You know there's only one different game. Do you know what it is?
What's that?
They play all the same teams Oklahoma does in the SEC except one team. They play Kentucky. Oklahoma plays Ole Miss. Every other game's the same. So I think OU uses a tougher SEC schedule. Now, Florida's non-conference schedule is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm talking overall.
Yes, overall, for sure, Florida. But SEC schedule. But, you know, I heard a great point today on ESPN, guys. And great point. And this very much could come to fruition. Teams like Ole Miss and Missouri. Let me just go over Missouri's schedule real quick and say they lose 2 games, Jeremy, and it's to Alabama and Oklahoma, okay? If that happens and they're in the playoff hunt, say they're sitting at 10 or 11 and they're compared to other teams, what's Missouri's best win in that scenario? At Texas A&M.
Okay.
That's where it could come to bite you. If you don't have any good wins.
I
Because
agree.
if you have a weak schedule and you lose the games like Alabama and Oklahoma, your only good win is at Texas A&M. That could hurt you in a situation like that. So we'll see.
And some of those teams like A&M, Jay, may be better than people thought. And Auburn's another team. Auburn and LSU are 2 teams that I think could be better than people think.
Dalpo says OU fans are not united. They don't believe in the team or the coach. My hot take. Here's what I'll say, Dalpos. I'm going to disagree with you because I think if you ask the majority of Oklahoma fans, I bet 85, 90% are all in on Brent Venables.
Hey, and I'm going to say this, Jay. We'll go till probably 35, 36 minutes. If there's anyone that's a Sooner Surge Unlimited member that wants to call in, you'll get the 2. You'll get your name twice on the ticket giveaway simply by calling and giving us a hot take. Dalpo just gave us a hot take. Someone else, hop on and give us a hot take.
Yeah, I think the majority of OU fans are all in right now. And I don't even know. You're going to be able to tell a lot this year. But this year and next year are massive for Brent Venables. Massive. And he knows it.
Oh, yeah, definitely knows it, Jay. And listen,
Eric's calling him out.
Jay,
out.
Jay, there's probably not any opposing team or even OU fans who would sit there and listen to BV and not get excited. That's who he is.
And Bob, you're right.
Okay, what?
I thought you were done talking. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't, Jay. You continually interrupt me. I'm getting sick of it. I'm going to go on a rant in a minute about your interruptions. All I was saying is people love listening to BV. Now you got to see it, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Because what happens is if you keep talking like that and then the team and they can't back it up, it becomes talk.
But that's why I love hearing Brent Venables today pretty much say the exact same thing you just said. Hey, we're a good defense. Are we a great defense right now? No. Got to see it on the field. There were too many over-the-top plays last year, too many busted coverages that you have to be consistent on the field, and that's where he said they haven't been. They've had big plays. They've struggled, and that has to be better. Are they good? Yeah, he thinks they are. Are they great yet? We don't know yet. Got to see it on the field. Downpost says Bobby would be a better guest. Hey, yeah, most are behind BV. Anything else today that just kind of stick out at all to you? Josh Heupel spoke today.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think that Tennessee game is going to be a good game. I think that's going to be a tricky game. I think OU wins, but I think it's going to be a close game.
I'm still the Auburn game to me, that first road test in the SEC. Hugh Freeze has talked it up a lot. That environment is going to be raucous. That will tell a lot on how good and how ready this team is.
He's got to get a standing ovation. And I think if you hear Josh Heupel, if you hear Bob Stoops and even Brent Venables talk today and how much, if they're saying, and leading up to that game, you're going to hear Brent Venables talk how much he loves Josh Heupel and the family and everything. They're like, with all that, he's going to get a standing ovation. Yes, I would agree.
You cannot lose to a Josh Heupel coach team. Sorry. You cannot.
Bowman's comment I listed earlier was hard to hear. Which are you talking about the horns down or hey, gray guy, drink? I did think it was funny when he talked about he threw a little Caden Green in there today and said, when he entered the portal, we reached out. After that, we reached out, thought we might have a chance. It's like, just please. I cannot. There is one game I'm circled so ready for, and it's in Columbia, Missouri. I mean, I'm so ready for November 9th.
Those tickets right now, Jay, are very hard to come by.
Are they? Looked into them?
I did today. They're $122 a pop. Ole Miss is $136 for lower level tickets, but there's not many OU Missouri tickets left, Jay.
I got a guy at Ole Miss that's going to let me, if I end up going, let me go to his huge tailgate area down there in Grove. I mean, so hopefully I can go. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be elite. Cannot wait for the road trips. Guys, it's getting closer and closer and closer. Cannot wait. Thanks, everybody, for being on here tonight. Again, if you have any questions about how to join Sooner Surge Unlimited, any questions about FanStop, email us, ousportsroundup@gmail.com. We will see everybody tomorrow night. Boomer.